Hello, everybody. Welcome to another lovely episode, we hope, of the Part Out podcast. Today we are joined with a co-host, friend of the channel, Nikki Zelja, and Ben from JustBricks or JB's Brick Kiln. How is it going?
Going all right, going all right.
Awesome. So before we get into the meat and bones of it, if you just want to tell us sort of how long you've been doing Bricklink, how you sort of heard about it, and just anything about yourself that the people should know.
All right. Well, I've been doing Bricklink. I started back in, I guess it was 2014. I was doing I started ordering on Bricklink thanks to Brickzar. And then after a while of watching his videos, his Pablo's specifically, I decided that it was something I could do. And so I started in my bedroom with like one stack on unit. And over time, it's grown. I stopped doing it for a little while when I went back to college, and then restarted the beginning of, well, technically the end of 2019. But I think what had happened was I forgot to close my store, and I had like 3 lots in there, and I actually saw I had an email from Bricklink saying one of those 3 lots had sold, and I had to message them and say, "Hey, I forgot my store even existed," and I had to cancel the order because I couldn't find the minifigure they bought. But yeah, it got me interested again. I started watching the Just a Brick in the Bucket guys and started back up and been doing it as kind of a side hustle for the last year and a half now.
So one thing that David and I planned on doing in every episode, but then did in the first episode and didn't do for the next two, was going over our store statistics, like our lot count, part count, total number of orders, and then orders in the last 6 months.
Yeah, let's have Ben go first.
Well, I'd have to look that up.
I'll pull it up for you. All right, so just bricks here, reading the JB's Brick Kiln Bricklink stats. We're at 98,429 items in 9,633 lots and 387 orders placed in the last 6 months out of 1,691 total item or orders. Nikki from the Great Avenue, how are the numbers looking there?
They're wonderful. They're ever increasing.
That's good.
I have 33,627 items in 6,420 lots, which I feel like I had a few thousand more items last week, but struggling
How
to
I
stay up there. Yeah. And then in the last 6 months, I have 241 orders out of 478. Is that
Nice.
even more than half of my orders have come in the last 6 months?
Well, I currently have 269,402 items in 26,006 unconsolidated lots. But I did just consolidate it in Brickstore. It was 16,700. 1162 orders placed in the last 6 months out of 2359. Good. We're all on the uptrend.
Yeah, I know my lots are not all consolidated anymore, so I'm not sure what the consolidated number is. I know that it
Well,
was before Christmas. I was over 10,000 consolidated lots, and then I just haven't caught back up from my week off.
yeah, that
That's fair.
it's
Yeah, I have
an
15
uphill battle.
after this.
Yeah, mine are not consolidated either. I'm over 5,000 consolidated. I know that. I think I'm like somewhere between 5,500 and above 5,500, but below 6,000.
Nice. Awesome. Well, let's get into the fan favorite segment, and I think host favorite maybe, our weekly winners. And I guess I'll just go first because I'm already talking. So I am not entirely like in love with this part, but it's a good part and it's worth a lot. So we'll go for it. It's the thin lift arm 1x5 in white. Part number is 32017. It has sold, I believe, yeah. So it has sold more than are available in the last 6 months, and they sell for an average of 273.
It's a pretty good part there.
Yeah, it was only in the the Droid Developer Kit, and that Technic Stormtrooper.
Ah,
I
yeah,
had the Droid Developer Kit.
Yeah,
nice.
I didn't part it out today, but I made a brick store file, priced everything, and then sorted by highest price and took all those out.
I parted out that Stormtrooper about a year ago. Was a good
Nice.
part out.
It's a very ugly set.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and I guess I can go next. My part is part number 43093, Technic Axle 1L with pin with friction ridges. Um, in white. Now this
Like,
one is a good one. It only came in 3 sets, but it sells for an average of $2.27 used, and it has 100% sell through, almost by like just a couple off from by quantity too.
yeah,
Um,
that is super nice.
Good sell through, and when you find one, you usually find multiple.
All
But
right,
yeah,
Ben, what have you got for us?
All right, it is part 981982 because it's the matching arm pairs.
Uh-huh.
This one's pretty recently become a winner because of the purple space torso. It's in dark purple because it's just a pair of purple arms. People are using to
Yes.
make the spaceman. So they've bumped up recently to $1.16 on average for a used pair of arms. So
wow.
Yeah, that is awesome. And the good thing is or not most, but a lot of the torsos that have those arms are worth less than that as a torso.
that's how I found it. I was uploading purple torsos and one of them was cracked, and I was like, well, it's a 35-cent torso. How much are the arms? And I was like, well, I'm just going to part out all the torsos I had because they were all cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. All right. So today we are talking about customer service, returns, refunds, quality control, damage stuff like that. So I guess a sort of fun way to start this, if we could both or all tell our first experience making a mistake, like selling something damaged or an order missing a part, and what we did then, and what we would do now instead, or if it stayed the same, that'd be interesting too.
Well, my first one, I'm not sure I remember because back when I first started, I didn't know how remarks worked. And so I had to remember what drawer I put the parts in, just going off of memory and hoping I could find it again when I got the order. So I couldn't tell you how many orders I had that were missing pieces. It was probably pretty close to 100% of orders I couldn't find a part for. And at that point I wasn't doing instant checkout, so I would just message them when I sent the invoice and say, hey, I was missing these pieces. I took them out of your total. So that makes a difference from now because I had a part missing this past week. And usually what I'll do if I missed a part when I send their order, um, I will offer them a coupon for free shipping off of a future order, and then just tell them to message me when they place that order, and I'll make sure I include those pieces that were missing with that order. And usually they'll accept that, or sometimes they'll say, I just need that piece, and then I'll just send it out and count it as a loss.
Sure. Yeah, I think that's it's not something I've necessarily done, but I've thought about doing and maybe should do is just offering the free shipping on an order because you're already shipping something to them anyway if you're giving them what's missing. It's a good way to drive repeat business for sure.
Yeah. That I did that recently. I had somebody. I was missing a piece from an order. I guess I'll start with like the first time I can remember because I don't know. I've definitely in the past. Yeah, I would be missing pieces and I would message them because it's back before. Yeah, I didn't have instant checkout. I'd message them and be like, hey, I'm missing this piece and this piece. I've just taken it off your order total. Like, is that okay? Is there anything else I can do? So recently I was missing just like one propeller piece from an order and I just listed too many of them, I guess. I messaged him before even sending the order. I said, like, sorry, I'm missing this piece. I've refunded you. I sent him $1. It was like a $3 order. I sent him $1 even though the piece was like 8 cents. And then of course 2 days later, I'm looking through bulk and I find the piece that he was missing. So I was like, hey, I messaged him. I was like, all right, I'm gonna ship this to you. If you want to place an order, just request invoice and I'll give you free shipping. Otherwise, I'm just gonna send it to you, and then you place an order, and so at least paid for the shipping for the part.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's nice. Not
yeah.
a total loss. So, something I think along the same lines of this is what are people's thoughts on listing damaged pieces and maybe specifically like minifigures? Because I know some people say, "Oh, I just don't want to even risk it because some buyers don't read the comments." But then, like, I personally will upload higher dollar things if they're cracked and just cut off 30 or 40% of the sold average because I think there are some people in the market who are just going to display a figure, and if it's cracked on the side, that's going to be fine with them.
Yeah, well, I upload damaged stuff all the time. The biggest thing I can say with that is just to make sure you describe it as well as possible. As it is, sometimes my my personal acceptance level will change after I upload a part, and I'll look at it and be like, "Man, I should have described this better." And then I'll shoot the person a message. Sometimes just be like, "Look, I'm gonna refund you for this piece. Send it anyway," or "Look, I'm just gonna send it to you. If you have any issues with it at all, just let me know because it's a little worse than I thought it was."
Yeah.
Stuff like that. So I haven't had any problems with people being upset about that. But it is true. Some people don't read comments because I've had somebody message me about something, and then I was like, "Well, if you read the comments, it answers your question." And they're like, "Oh, I totally missed that."
Yeah. Yeah, I think that is one maybe flaw at the Bricklink interfaces. There's no like you need to actually click on the listing in a store to see the comments. It's not just there.
Yeah, I also upload, if it's like a small piece, if it's not worth much, no, I don't upload it. But yeah, if it's like something rare or expensive, I'll list it, and usually I just do half price, and I'll say playware, or sometimes if it's like I'll like describe it more detailed. But if it's not like a printed piece, and I'll just say like playware, and then list it for 50% of the sold average. And
I
I
think
sell minifigs like if it's on a minifig, I'll describe like the crack, like if it has a crack or something. I don't really list cracked minifigs anymore, but I have in the past, and they sell just fine because they're cheap, and a lot of people just don't really care if they're just gonna like play with it or display it or whatever.
yeah, and I think too, just rule of thumb is list or describe it worse than it actually is. So
Right.
worst case scenario, they're happily surprised.
Yeah.
I tend to try and list a bunch of the classic '90s stuff, like the later classic space and stuff. And so
Hmm.
those parts, even if they are in bad shape, I'll still list them 90% of the time. Just try and make sure that they're very well described. But like basic bricks and stuff, if they're damaged, I'm just gonna chuck them in a bin and try and sell them in bulk someday.
Yeah, that's definitely best practice. I don't think it's worth the time to say the 2x4 blue brick has a dent in it or whatever.
Yeah,
I do though. I have two lots of light gray 1x2 bricks, and one of them is for like the very like not very but the yellowed ones because the old light gray especially yellows very easily, and the damaged ones sell more. So I think that's a wanted list going on.
I think a big thing with that is if you describe it and someone gets it and like, man, this isn't what I wanted, they'll go back and look at the order and then see the
They'd be
comments. That,
like,
oh,
Yeah.
yeah, that's
Yeah, and I've talked to a few people or I saw on the Just a Brick in the Bucket server they said they add a message before they ship if they sell something damaged. And I thought about because you can force things to need to be instant checkout. I thought about flagging damage stuff like that. And that way when you send the invoice you can also say like reiterate like part number X is damaged.
That's a good idea. It would require more work and probably a lot more like headache with orders not getting paid for.
Yeah, and you need to send invoices, and some people don't like placing an order if they can't check out right away, I
Right.
would assume. So, in the vein of mistakes, when or if it's happens or like, it's never fun, but when you get an order and you pull the drawer, you're like, uh-oh, it's not there. Is your first thought to look through drawers next to it or to just try to hunt it down elsewhere in your backlog?
Depends on if it's new or used.
Right.
If it's a new part, I'm pretty much stuck. I gotta look either through the drawers around it or um, check one of my sets that I haven't parted out yet and see if it came in one of those sets. I have one set up here. It's an Ninjago set that I thought I haven't parted out because I only have one copy of it, but I've stolen I think 6 pieces from it, and so it's all written on the side of the box flap of what I stole from it.
Yeah.
But if it's a used part and I think I just miscounted, I'll go straight to my used pile and try and find it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of like case by case on it. Like it depends on what it. I mean, again, yeah, new pieces I don't have very many, and so I don't have any sort of backlog of new pieces. But like if it's the whole lot that's missing, I look in drawers next to it. If it's quantity, I look in my backlog.
Well, if it's like one piece and it's a smaller piece, since I share lots in drawers, some of my drawers have gotten a little too full from when I was still consolidating. And so I'll check like the drawer underneath of it or the bottom of that unit sometimes.
I've had that happen before where it's a little too full, so you pull the drawer out, something gets caught on the top and it falls to the drawer below it.
Yeah. Yeah, when I
There's-
moved, I found like four or five parts that were stuck on the back of the units. I'm like, well, those will turn up missing at some point because I
That's
don't know where
funny.
they.
Yeah. Yeah, I have a place for where if I find parts on the ground or whatever in the pick path, I have a cup for all those parts, and every time something's missing, I completely forget to look there. And I just hunt it down in my backlog of sorted used stuff.
I had something the other day where I was missing. Someone had ordered like 100 Technic pins of like the light bluish gray smooth ones,
Hmm.
and it said I had like 170 of them, and I found 14 in the drawer. And I was like, this seems like it's a consolidation error. And sure enough, I looked around. I'm like, it's going to be kind of hard to hide that many pins. So I just looked through my drawer units until I found the drawer that had 150 of them, I guess.
Yeah.
And then made sure I changed the remarks. But yeah.
Yeah, that is not to always be pushing the don't consolidate, but that is one thing is like, and I know Chris from the Great Brick Lab said this too, is at least if it's not consolidated, you only lose that one lot in the
Yeah.
assumptions that all the others are correct.
Yeah. Currently, I'm only consolidating new pieces just because that I can't really afford the drawers. With used pieces, I can
Yeah.
throw lots together and I don't really worry about it too much. Um, but yeah, with parting out through Brick Store, I noticed that if you change remarks, like a drawer's too small, and you change the remarks on BrickLink, it'll still, if you use the Brickstock merge function, it'll still bring up the old remarks until the next day. So that's burned me a couple times.
Right. Yeah, I don't even consolidate new lots. I just throw them together in drawers.
Yeah, that's the same here.
David, do we want to talk about this storage solutions?
Yeah,
We may as
I
well.
think that's good.
Yeah.
We can go next.
Right. I mean, we all know everyone loves the Acro Mills units. You have them behind you, Ben, and I know David uses them. I like
They're
them.
behind me. There's just a wall between me
Right,
and that.
of course. And the price for those is quite high right now. Pretty much anywhere you can get them, they are. Are they still about $70?
Yeah, like 74 or something.
Which is just insane because you look at the price history and, you know, less than 6 months ago they were like $25, $30.
Yeah.
And I mean, even like a week or two ago, 2 weeks ago, week and a half, they were $40, which was like a lot compared to what they used to be, but nothing compared to what they are now. And so that kind of brings us into the question of what do you do to store like, what are other options, other than
Yeah,
acros and
it if or when space runs out.
Well, since I'm on mobile, I can actually show you some of them.
Perfect.
Over here, we got the Tafco drawers.
okay,
These are not my favorite at all. Um, they're smaller than the Acros, and when you first get them, I don't know if you can see it, but on the bottom of this drawer, there's like little tabs that come on there, and it makes it really hard to pull the drawers out without pulling the whole unit around. And so I went through, the first thing I did was cut all those tabs off. So it's a little extra time. And then, I mean, there's some of the Sterilite containers. These are all old. Um, my my uncle was using them to store state quarters when the state quarters were first coming out. So that's been like 20 years. And these are my original units right here, the stack-ons. And
And
then,
that's actual stack on brand.
yeah, actual stack-on brand stack-ons. And then, of course, I got just whatever I found used places. Like, I think this is actually Acro Mills, but it's just different stuff that I found used different places. And then my personal stuff back there's and all kinds of different things. These organizers are great for minifigure parts if you're not picking orders out of them. So
I like how diverse your storage solutions are. I think that's good to be able to just
Yeah.
like use that kind of stuff. And finding them used also, I have looked and it's impossible around here. I've never found anything like that used around here where I live.
I've only found like two of them. I got them from Yard. So the Acro
Yeah.
Mills.
There are also, so I have these, and this one is modified to only have small ones right now, but these are often under $8 at Harbor Freight, and they come with 20 containers, so the lots per dollar, if you will, is a lot better than Acro Mills, even when Acro Mills were like whatever they used to be in our dreams now, I guess. But so yeah, tackle box style stuff. I think the main problem that faces sellers in general is that it's sort of hard to change gears when you've already expanded a system that's used to Acro Mills or something similar.
Yeah.
Yep. That's like right over top my shoulder here. You can see that these units don't really match up perfectly because well, this one's shorter because it's a different brand and it's got this weird set of drawers where it's got two big drawers
Yeah.
right in the middle.
How do you even number that?
Uh, it was a challenge when I was using that one, but since I moved in here, I was able to use some of my newer acros that I haven't filled out 100% yet. But I mean, I've got perfect space up there for two more acros, full size ones, and nothing I have will fit there.
Yeah,
Right.
and that's a hole that will cost $140 to fill right now.
Yeah, and then so that's why like I've gone with a different brand. Yeah, this line, the closest one to me, is not Acro Mills. It's Art Bin. They have a Joanne Joanne, or what used to be Joanne Fabrics.
Is it just Joanne now?
It's just Joanne.
What happened to the fabrics?
They must sell more things other than just fabrics now.
Like plastic small parts organizer.
Right, exactly. So yeah, these were cheaper than I think I paid. There you can get like a 20% discount. So I ended up paying $20 for each of those units, and they're 39 drawer. And I like how they have 9 large drawers because I was in need of large drawers. I was pretty much out.
Yeah.
So
I use those for my new parts. My problem with if I use them for used parts is that the drawers don't stack when they're out of the unit. Something I really like about the Acro Mills.
right.
Yeah, I don't think the Tafco drawers stack that well either.
Yeah. And the problem also is, like, even if they do stack, they only stack with the ones of the same brand. So then you
Great.
have two piles of empty drawers. You've got this brand, and the Acro Mills.
That's the big problem with this unit right here. These drawers do not stack with Acromills drawers.
They look so similar.
They look so similar, but they don't quite fit. And what's funny with these ones, I don't think I have one with the divider in it, but the divider on these goes across horizontally instead of
Right.
vertically. So I don't even know what brand this unit is. I got it used. I think it was full of sequins when I got it. Sequins and beads.
And there's always the Ziploc and bins, but that's sort of been hashed over, and I think the consensus is the opportunity cost of the time spent is not worth it.
I do have one bin with Ziploc bags in it for like
Yeah, I
large
mean,
pieces.
I have over 100 shoe bins, but they're filled with the bad sell-through, high quantity colors.
Yeah.
So,
I have like big plate, like the 8x16 plates, or
oh,
no,
sure.
whatever the big. Yeah, I think they're 8x16 or yeah, 8x16, and they just like don't really fit in the drawers very well, and I had high quantity of them, so I just put them in bags.
I've got 15 bins, and the biggest issue I have with them is I put some minifigure parts in there, and whenever they don't sell very often because they're like city torsos and junk, but when they do sell, it's always a pain to get them out of there.
Yeah, I've I've done that before. I like parted out or something similar. I parted out a Bionicle set. There's this really tiny Technic part, and for whatever reason, I only had big drawers in front of me. I was like, oh, whatever. So I just put it in the big drawer, and then ended up filling the rest of that big drawer with a bunch of bricks. So when I went to pull that part, it took a while to find the really tiny part amongst all the bigger stuff. Yeah, and what's happened a few times to me is I've put like if you put a brick in the same drawer as like a 1x1 round tile, it'll do that thing where the tile gets wedged in the underside of the brick,
Oh.
and then you think it's missing, but then like later you're like, oh, there's a tile. And I've actually, have you guys ever noticed like there's a part in a bottom of another part when you sell it? Because I just send it and like think of it as a free part for them.
I almost did that the other day with uploading a part. I was uploading a trash can and had a Spider-Man head wedged in the bottom of the trash can.
Who threw
And
Spider-Man away?
I had I shouldn't have bothered messing with it because it took me like 8 minutes to get that stupid head out of there. It was wedged in good, and there's no hole in the bottom of the trash can.
But yeah, I do wonder what happens when buyers have received my bricks with the like tiny parts stuck in them.
Right.
Because there's some parts that can fit in the like between the tubes and whatever in a brick, and you can still use it normally.
And something I have done is like the windscreens that attach to a hinge brick, like the octagonal
Oh, sure.
ones. I'll list that sometimes, and I won't bother pulling the hinge piece off the bottom. I'll just list it and just send it with the hinge piece attached.
Yeah, I got a mere flesh wound from pulling apart hinge bricks this week. Those are the worst.
Yeah.
But I've also done so like yeah, there's a few parts that are really annoying and stuck together. And I think this was one of the first videos I saw of yours, Ben, was the how to get the Bionicle brain out.
Oh
I
yeah,
used to just sell it as the brain because that's like the more valuable part, and just send it with the light gray head too.
Oh, I've never been able to get those apart, so I need to see that video.
Every time I get it apart, it flies like 20 feet.
I think you have to use 2 brick separators. I don't even remember how I did
Yeah.
it.
Well, so I've done it two ways. You can do the brick separator, or you can put like an axle through the head and just like push it on the ground really hard, and the brain will get launched in the air.
Oh, okay. That's so
That-
funny. Yeah, I have a ton of those listed in my store just as the
The
assembly.
counterpart.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that never or rarely sells.
I sold one today. Sold no, 2 today.
What? Oh shoot.
Must have been the pink one.
It
Yeah,
was
right.
the like light orange, trans light orange. And a
Mm.
trans green.
Nice.
I had an order that had 3 different colors of them the other day. So they do sell. But I do have a lot of them in my store because I parted out a ton of Bionicle stuff.
Yeah.
Brick separators sell too.
Do
Yeah,
they?
only in quantities of like 100.
I
I
never sell them. I just have a bag of them somewhere. I use them all the time.
think I sold 22 of them the other day.
Nice.
Nice.
Why do people need so many of them?
Maybe they give them out, or they're doing custom sets or something like that.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't. You'd think every person only needs one.
2. Because sometimes you
Okay.
need 2 to get like plates apart.
Okay, we'll give you 2.
Um, when I find them in bulk, they're usually pretty bad. Like on this edge here.
The
Yeah.
prying edge.
Yeah.
Yep. Those go in my ones that are going to be a pick a fill a bag table.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
If you want one, you can have it in there.
Exactly.
Ben, it's been great to have you on. Is there anything you'd like to plug or say to the people at home before we sign off here?
Join Bricklink.
Yeah.
Like Lego, and you like selling things, maybe consider starting a store.
Yeah, and maybe order from JB's Brick Kiln to get your buyer feedback.
Yeah, and if you let me know you saw it on the podcast, I'll throw in a sticker and a bricky.
That is awesome.
Nice.
All right. Thanks a lot, Nikki, as always, and thanks Ben for being on. It's been
Thanks,
a
guys.
blast. Yeah, for sure. And I'm sure we'll talk to you soon, even if it's not broadcast on the internet.
Right.
Alrighty, thanks, guys.